Okay, so welcome back to another Blender tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a photorealistic ring. And today's video also has a sponsor. If you want to take your 3D skills to the next level, then you're going to love today's sponsor, Wingfox. One course that really stood out was the Ultimate Guide to Rigging in Blender. This is a fantastic course. It doesn't only take you through advanced rigging situations, it also takes you through the animation process. So this is going to be a fantastic course if you want to take your rigging and animation to the next level. It's over 8 hours of videos, downloadable resources, and you get lifetime access. The cool thing is, if you sign up to Wingfox, you can also try the introduction and the first 2 videos for free, just to see if you like it before you commit to purchasing. And for those of you who like that painterly look in Blender, this course over here, Create Painterly Characters and Environments in Blender, is absolutely fantastic. It's 22 hours of video content showing you how to make 3D scenes and then render them out in a highly realistic painterly fashion. And as well, you can check out the first 2 videos for free if you sign up. Just looking at some of these results is absolutely amazing. And you also get 6 downloadable resources. So if you're ready to take your skills to the next level, definitely go into the description below where you'll find the appropriate links that'll take you to where you can sign up and start using Wingfox. So let's jump into the tutorial. Open up a new scene in Blender, and what we're going to do is we're just going to select everything and we're just going to press delete. A good object to get started with is obviously, I think, the diamond, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edit and Preferences. And just in case you haven't done this, you want to go to Add-ons, and then you want to come over here, click on the search bar and type in Extra. And then you want to make sure Add Mesh Extra Objects is enabled, because we're going to be using a default thing or a built-in thing that comes with Blender. So once you have that, enable it, close it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go Shift A, and you should be able to go to your mesh options. And instead of just seeing the usual options that you have here, you're going to be seeing some more options down here. We're going to go to this one here called Diamond, and let's just get Brilliant Diamond. And what we're going to do, we're going to come here to the custom settings. Honestly, you can make this whatever you want. I wouldn't go anything lower than 11, I would say. So I'm going to go just with, I think, a number like 12 segments. And then I'm going to close it. So here we have our diamond, and let's go into our front orthographic view. We're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a circle. Let's just go to our settings down here. Let's just make that 16 on the verts, and let's tab into edit mode. And if all of those verts active, what we're going to do is we're going to go E to extrude and then Z and extrude it down about this much. And then we're going to just actually tab back out. We're going to select our diamond. We're going to go G, Z, just move it up to about here. So we have a little bit of a gap there. Then you can select the cylindrical thingy again. You can tab in, press A to select everything, E to extrude, and then you can go Alt S and scale that in along the normals. Right? Now you could add a solidify to this, but it's just easy to work like that. Then you're going to go Shift Alt, you're going to left click on here to loop select this edge, and you can go S and just scale that a bit. And then Control B just to bevel it. Now what you can do is you can go to your modifiers, give that a bevel modifier, and just set the segment count to 2. Mess around with the size here, but don't make it too big and don't make it too small. Something like that's fine. And then give it a subdivision surface modifier. And then right click and go shade smooth. So now we have that part done. What we're going to do in our front orthographic view is we're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a plane. We're going to go G and move it over here. R to rotate it, and then tab into edit mode, S to scale, and we want it about that big over here. So in our front orthographic view, we're going to bring it up over here, rotate it in. Then we're going to make sure we select these 2 bottom verts. We're going to go E to extrude, we're going to extrude it down like this, around, and then we're working our way like this, turning as we go, and then working our way, just little segments at a time, to about here. We can adjust it in a little bit if we have to. You can always just grab these verts if you need to, enable the proportional editing and just adjust them. But we just want something that looks like that. Then we're going to go and give it a solidify modifier. And we're going to come here and bring that thickness into the negatives or whatever. Depends on your normals, but you might have to drag it the other way, but we're bringing it in towards the diamond like that. And then we're going to give that a subdivision surface modifier, like so. Go to your top orthographic view, and you can select all of this, and you can go S, Y, and just scale it on the Y a bit, giving it a little bit of thickness. Pretty simple thing so far. You just want to adjust this little thing here. Just drag it up with proportional editing, turn it a little bit, just make it look like it's kind of just cupping or holding over that little bit there so the diamond doesn't come out. And once you have that done, just tab back out, right click and go shade smooth. So now you have that bit done. We'll adjust it in a little bit. What we can do now is we can take this and we can go Shift D to duplicate it, right click to let go, then go to your top orthographic view by pressing 7 on your number pad. And what we're going to do here is, because we have our 3D cursor here in the center, we're just going to come here to our pivot transform, make it 3D cursor. And with that new duplicate, we're just going to press R to rotate and rotate it like that. And then we're going to go G, Y, and just move it till this point here is where that is. So just at an angle to that. I'm going to set this back to median point, tab back in, and we should still have all of this here at the front active. Make sure you have proportional editing enabled, and then go G and roll your middle mouse button to increase that fall off and just drag it all the way to the back here like that. So you have another piece there. And that's looking pretty good. What you can do is, with all of that still active, you can go S and then press Y twice. And it's just going to scale it more locally. And we're just going to flatten that a bit, just like that. And then S just to scale the whole thing just a little bit. And now we have that prong over there. And what we're going to do is tab back out. And what we're going to do is now minimize some of this here. And we're also going to give it a mirror. And what we need to do is we need to go Control A and apply the location, Control A and apply the rotation like that. And now we're going to come here to the axes and make it Y instead of X. And now we should have that. Okay, so pretty cool, going pretty well so far. Let's also now just apply that solidify. We come to the drop down, apply it, come to the subdiv. Let's just drop down and let's just make it a level of 1 and apply that. And let's just also come and apply that mirror. And we're going to grab this thing here and we're going to apply the solidify. And we're going to apply the subdiv modifier. And then we're going to take this guy here and we're going to apply the bevel. And we're going to apply the subdivision surface modifier. Now we can take all of these, holding in Shift, select them, then select this bit here and then go Control J and join that all together. You can now add a subdivision surface modifier again. And that's all looking good. So let's add our pearl thing here in the middle. We're going to go Shift A, just add in a UV sphere. And with that UV sphere here, let's just go S and let's just go 0.2 to scale it down. So it's a bit smaller because we are dealing with a ring here. And let's just select all the other items that we have. And let's just go S and just scale that way down. About that much. In fact, quite a bit more. So about there. Now we're going to go G, move it over here. All of this, just bring it in. And when it's about this scale, you're going to select this holding part for the diamond. You're going to tab back into edit mode, just select all of these verts in wireframe with proportional editing, just go G, decrease the fall off and just drag that in a little bit more towards here like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go Control A and apply the rotation. And we're going to go Control A and apply the location. So the origin point is in the center here. Now what we can do is we can go Shift A, we can add in a empty, make it a cube. What we're going to do is we're going to take this bit here. We're now going to give it an array modifier. And let's just set the factor to 0 on the X because we don't need it to repeat along a certain direction. And then we're going to come here to the object offset and we're going to select this little eyedropper and select this empty. And now if you select the empty and you go R, Z and you rotate it on the Z, this should happen. You should see that it's using that as a point of rotation. So it's using the object and duplicating around it. Now, if you're not seeing that, just make sure to apply the scale as well, the rotation and the location, and also make sure that this empty origin point is at the same origin point as this object here, because if it's not, you're going to see it's going to be floating around like that. So now select that little object again, and let's just come to the array. Let's give it a count of 16. And all you have to do now is grab this little, this empty. In fact, let's just press N to open up our properties. Let's go to item and under the Z here, let's make it 22.4 under rotation of the Z. And that should all be correct. So if you now actually select this part that we have active, you can go over here to the array count and you can bring it down and you should see one of them disappears. Okay, so that should be just about right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select this diamond and we're going to go Control A. We're going to apply the location. So the origin point is also in the center there. And while we have it active, we're going to hold in Shift, select this bit over here. We're going to go Control L and then we're going to go copy modifiers. Now select the diamond again and just get rid of the subdiv. We only need the array here. With the diamond, you're not seeing anything. So you're going to go Control A and apply the scale as well. Now it should all work as you can see here. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's just select this pearl here, right click and go shade smooth. We don't want to give the diamond a shade smooth. So far we have the hardest bits done. Let's just quickly also go Shift A, just add in a quick UV sphere, scale it down quite a bit, G, Y, bring it out, G, X, bring it out to about here, keep scaling it down. And from your top view, you could just come in here and go G, move it in to where the diamonds are here, and just bring it down in between there. Just tuck it in somewhere there, right click and go Shade Smooth. And now you're gonna go Control A, you're gonna apply the location, so the origin point is there in the middle where the pearl is, and then Control A, apply the scale as well. And then holding and Shift, you're gonna select the other part that we did before, Control L, and then copy modifier. So now that's sharing the same modifier, and it should all be in place. You can leave all of that as it is. And now it's really starting to look right. I might just grab this, tab into edit mode, and just move all of that geometry up just a little bit. Okay, cool. Now we can actually get into modeling the ring. So make sure to save as you go. Okay, so in your front orthographic view, you want to go Shift A and you're going to add in a circle, RX90, press enter, and then S to scale that down about this much, and then go G, Z and bring it down. So the size of this is going to be proportional to the ring here. Obviously this is still looking a bit too big. I might bring it down just a bit and then just let it touch there at the top. What you can do is you can go Control A, make sure to apply the rotation, Control A and apply that scale. We're then going to go over here to our modifiers, give that, in fact, let's just tab into edit mode and let's just go E to extrude, S to scale, just give it a bit of thickness. And let's give that a solidify modifier. And let's just give that a thickness of about that much. You can just eye it, that should be fine. And then you're gonna go to your right orthographic view and see that origin point down the middle. You're just gonna come here and drag that offset till it's somewhere in the middle of that, right? Just eyeing it should be fine. And then you're gonna come down and apply that. Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna give it a bevel and you're gonna come here and you're gonna drag that amount down, just to give it a slight bevel, nothing too crazy. And then give it more segments. You're gonna right click and go Shade Smooth, and you're also gonna give it a subdivision surface modifier. Now at the moment, it doesn't actually quite look right. So we're gonna go to our right orthographic view. We're gonna tab into edit mode, and we're just gonna select these bottom verts. We're gonna make sure our proportional editing is enabled. We're gonna go S, Y, and scale it along the Y. But we're gonna roll our middle mouse button to increase the fall off until we get something that looks like that. Then we're gonna select some of these top verts, and we're gonna go S, Y, and just flatten it a little bit on the Y, and also using that proportional fall off. So now it is a bit chunkier at the base. And if we go into our front orthographic view, what we're gonna do is we're gonna press C to get this selection tool. We're gonna roll our middle mouse button to increase it. And we're just gonna click here and just select these bottom verts here, but make sure they're evenly selected at the front so you can see here. And then we're gonna go S, X, and scale them along the X with the proportional editing still enabled. And then G, Z, just bring them up a little bit. And then we're gonna enable the X mirror, just so it mirrors. And we're just gonna select this side here. We're gonna go G and just bring that one in a bit, maybe this one as well. Just smoothing it out a bit, making it a little bit more even. Okay, you can mess around with this as much as you want. Just so you have a little bit of a gradient in here. It's a bit thicker at the base. It's a slight detail, but it definitely adds something to this. And then what you can do is disable proportional editing. Control R, hover over here with the cursor. You're gonna add in one cut, double click to add it in. Then Alt S and scale that in along the normal, just a little bit. So it's kind of like rounding it in. That's actually a common trick on jewelry. I don't know why they do it, but it does look quite nice. We're also gonna now tab out, and there we have the ring part. This is optional, but you can also go Shift A. In fact, let's just select this pearl. Let's go Control I to inverse the selection, press H, just hide all the other objects, and then we're just gonna come in here in edit mode, select this bottom part, Shift D to duplicate it, Alt S to scale it out, and then we're gonna press P and we're gonna separate that into its own object, tab back out, and then go Alt H to unhide everything. So now we have this part in here, and this guy we can tab into edit mode, A to select everything, E to extrude, Alt S and scale that in along the normals. Now we have that little part that sits in there, and we can also give it a subdivision surface modifier. And there we have it. That was pretty easy to do that part. And the pearl, we can maybe go G, Z, and just bring that up just a tiny bit. And that's it. We have a nice ring. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna grab this jewelry part here, and we're just gonna come and we're gonna apply the array. We're gonna select the diamond. We're gonna come here and we're gonna apply the array. And you could save a different copy of this before you do this, but I'm just going to apply the subdiv for this bottom part that we added. I'm going to grab the ring here and I'm going to leave all that as it is. Maybe just apply the bevel actually. I'm going to apply the bevel. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now delete. Oh yeah, also select this little ball part here. Anything that has an array, make sure to apply the array. You should then be able to select this empty and then go X and delete. And it shouldn't affect everything. All of this is now kind of applied. If you select this object and you tab in, you can see it's all one object and that's really good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to select all of this, G, Z, move it up in the scene, Control A, and just make sure to apply the scale for everything. So it's all applied. Shift A, add in a plane. And at the moment, this ring is a little bit big. I mean, this is a 2 meter by 2 meter object here. So what I'm going to do is just select the ring again, everything to do with the ring, and we have our cursor there in the middle. Let's just quickly enable our 3D cursor for the pivot there, the pivot transform. Let's just go S and scale that down about that much. Maybe just a little bit bigger. Yeah, about there. It's still not to scale, but I just prefer to work a little bit smaller so it doesn't get too ridiculous with the power of the lights and stuff like that. And once again, just make sure to select everything, Control A, and apply the scale. Because we're going to be working with procedural materials, we want everything to be the same scale here. Okay, cool. So there we have it. Let's quickly come over here, Shift A, just add in a camera. Go into the camera view and just position your camera here. I'm not going to go into how to position the camera because it's quite a simple thing and this isn't an absolute beginner's tutorial. But what I would recommend you do, especially if you're going to put this on Instagram or something, is change the render engine to cycles. If you have a GPU, you can enable that. If you don't, just stick to CPU. Most importantly, under the render options, we do want to set the max samples to 450. I'm not going to be using the denoiser this time because I feel like it just ruins it. I'm just going to be doing a max sample here of 450. You can go higher if you want a nicer result. But what you're going to do is go to your output and let's just make the Y. We're going to make that 1920 as well. So it's 1920 by 1920. And with the camera settings, let's just make it a focal length of 95. And yeah, this should be what you have, something like this. That's a nice pose there, a nice angle. Mess around with it. Control B while you're in camera view and then click and drag over the camera. And now if you press Z and you go rendered, it'll limit your rendering to that camera, which is going to be a lot more efficient. So make sure as well, like I said, keep saving as you're going. Let's quickly go to our world settings. We want to make it completely dark because we don't want it to reflect any light. We want a really dark scene. We're going to go Shift A and we're going to just add in some area lights. We only want to see the reflection of the area lights that we're adding in. We're going to just move that area light up. We're going to go Z, go rendered, and let's see what that looks like. Let's go to our light settings and let's make that light 0.5 meters, a bit smaller. And then you can rotate like that. We still have our 3D cursor enabled for the pivot. So if we now go into camera view, we can just double tap R and rotate that light. Go Shift D and then R to rotate it and RZ and then rotate it. So it's easy for you to just add the lights like this. But what you're going to do now, you can also select the floor that it's on. Go to your materials, click new and just call it floor and then make the base color black. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come here to your roughness, bring it almost all the way down to make it reflective. And then come here also and make it metallic by dragging that metallic slider up. What I'm going to do actually is make it a little bit more gray than black. Just something like that. We want a nice dark floor. You can also select the light again, go Shift D, R to rotate, get another light there in there somewhere. Completely up to you how you want to approach the lighting. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the actual ring. Just select this part here. Let's just go new to create a new material. Let's just call it metal. And you can also just come here to the base color for now and just give it something so you can see what it looks like. If you press Z and you go rendered, you can see it doesn't look like metal, but you can come here and drag that metallic slider all the way up and then bring the roughness down a lot, but not all the way down. Now we can quickly grab all of these other little metal parts, anything that's going to be metal. And while you're holding in Shift, then select that ring piece, Control L, and then link those materials. So now in your camera view, if you press Z and you go rendered, that should all have that same thing. Select the diamond here, go new, and for now I'm going to be lazy, and instead of giving it a principle, let's just go, click on here, press G, and it should add in the glass. You can go and find the glass there, and bring that roughness down almost all the way. Now I'm not going to get into the IOR or try to make a physically realistic diamond shaders. We're just going to stick with glass in this case, but you can see that's the result we have. I like to give it a tiny bit of a bluish tinge, like that, but it's completely up to you how you want to approach this. And then we're going to select the pearl here and give that a new material. This is called pearl. And I have no idea what the actual physical properties is behind a pearl, but looking at some reference images, I kind of just came up with this shader I'm about to show you. But definitely just a quick result here. So let's just go Shift A, search, get a noise texture. Let's just plug it in here to the base color. And I'm just in the material viewport here. And then I'm going to go Shift A, search, and type in color and get a color ramp node. And I'm going to plug the color into there. Then I'm going to go Shift A, search, and get a bump. And then plug the bump into the height. And then plug that normal into the normal of the principled. Bring the roughness almost all the way down to 0 on that. And bring the strength down to 0.02. It's a very slight strength. And then you're going to come here and make the scale of a 2, so it's much smaller. Shift A, search, and then get a hue and saturation. Put it over here and then bring that saturation down quite a bit on the pearl. And let's just go bring that roughness down even a bit more. And I don't know why, but just giving it a slight metallic look makes it look a little bit almost more like silicate, or like the whatever material that a pearl is made out of. And let's just press Z at this point and go render it and see what it looks like. I guess you can see that's the result. Maybe I'll bump the saturation up on that a little bit, but that's kind of how I made the pearl. Maybe drag the metallic up just a bit. But yeah, you can mess around with that as much as you want and try and make a nice pearl material. Look at some reference images. One more thing you can do with the pearl, it is optional, is give it a subdivision surface modifier and then also give it a displace. Go to your texture properties, click new, and then just make it a cloud. And then you can go to your modifier again and just give it a strength of 0.01. So it's a very slight strength. So it's not quite perfectly round, because a pearl usually isn't. It's not a perfectly round object. It's got a little bit of imperfection. You can mess around with the scale of that and go back and forth between the strength, but you kind of get where we're going with this. So there we have it, a ring. And let's just grab this metal material. At this point with the metal, I'd bring that roughness down even more and give it a less saturated color, almost like a bit of a rose gold material like that. And what you can also do is you can select your camera here. You can go to your camera settings and then give it a depth of field. Click on a little eyedropper and select something like the pearl. And then go to your camera view. Now if you press Z and you go rendered, you can actually mess around with this f-stop. The more you bring it down, the more it's going to focus just on that pearl. And the more you drag this f-stop value up, the less soft focus you're going to have. Just keep in mind, this will increase the noise when you do your rendering. What you can also do for a little bit more control is just go add in a empty, scale that empty down and place it just in front of the pearl there, in front of the camera. And then you can actually grab the camera. And then for the depth of field reference object, you can select that empty. And that just gives you a bit more control. Now you can actually move this empty around and control where you want the main focal point to be. And then mess around with that f-stop value. But you kind of get the idea here where we're going with this. I might make that floor just a little bit darker. But there we have it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to save everything. I'm going to go render image, and let's going to see what this all looks like. And here we have the render. Just look at that. And this is with minimal effort. Keep in mind, I'm doing a tutorial here, so I'm not going to polish this up as much as I usually would. I'm just teaching guys how to do this. But even this result here is pretty awesome. I'd like to see what you guys do with this. If you look in the description below, I've got some social media stuff there. I do try to look at things people tag me in, but if you also want to check out some of my Skillshare stuff, that's also in the description below. If you use my link, you can try the first month free. There's a lot of courses on Skillshare, and it really helps me out as well. So I'll see you guys next time in another tutorial. And also these blend files here are on my Patreon. That's also in the description below.